Good morning. I'm going to begin today by offering a retrospective, as I want. I'll also note some administrative matters. Maybe I'll begin with one. Noting the the occasional AV problems we've been encountering with flickering of the flickering and then longer periods of non-compliance of the center screen. I've upgraded our setup here to include what's called an HDMI repeater, which basically boosts the quality of and strength of the signal. I'm hoping that this will put those problems to rest. We don't know. This is just a working hypothesis that maybe it's due to a low quality signal due to the length of the cable from my laptop to there. But if you could clue me in if you see any flickering, I'd be grateful, particularly for this projector, which, as you might note, probably has the longest distance of any one cable, even compared with that one. So if you could clue me in if we see any flickering, it will help falsify that working hypothesis. Okay. A second note is that this evening, we're going to be holding our poster session. We're expecting 4 posters, which are on a wide variety of topics, as noted, including many of them focusing on different aspects of dynamic modeling, some from students that you haven't yet met. We are further going to have a demonstration, which I want to highlight particularly because it won't be quite as visible as the posters. If you're out in the hall there, but it'll instead be held down in the room where our case studies are being held, S386, down at the end of the hallway and to the left. Specifically, we're going to be using a device called the Oculus there, which is a 3D visualization device for visualizing high-dimensional data. And the students involved will be showing you a system we've built which can allow that to visualize output from models in 3 dimensions in a way that packs a lot more information than the normal 2D plots we typically deal with. This is a virtual reality system, so it will involve a mask that you put on and can then explore that data in 3 dimensions. So if you are interested in seeing it, don't forget that beyond the posters, you have to sort of go out and go down to the end of the hall to experience the Oculus. But it's very promising for understanding some of the patterns we see, the emergent patterns coming out of these models. It can let you appreciate the broad patterning of output data from simulations in a way that takes longer to appreciate using traditional mechanisms, and it can allow for interactive exploration of that, rotating things and zooming and walking around them, and that sort of thing. So check that out as well if you have an interest. If you're interested, the student involved, Dorian, can also show you how it can be used to explore the hidden order and time series that are collected empirically in a way that provides insight into needs for modeling them. Okay. So this will be tonight. It'll be after the main sessions. We'll try not to begin too late. So I'm thinking we'll probably cut over at somewhere around 5:30 or something. And my understanding is that Christine is planning to bring food here that we can eat whilst appreciating the posters. Okay, so you don't have to worry about finding dinner following the event. Let's see, other administrative matters. Yes. I'm going to, and I do it right now, I'd release it right now, except that I didn't quite have the time to pull it together. I'm going to be seeking feedback from those in the boot camp
craft priorities for coverage within the next 2 days. Okay, we have every year far too much material for us to cover. Jeff argues that the real challenge of the boot camps is, as he puts it, and that's great, to figure out the 90% that can't be covered, and by the same token, the 10% that can. We have a couple things that will definitely be featured because I promised them either to the group or particular people. These include some presentations on aspects of big data and integration with models, and some associated case studies, but it also includes some work today on sensitivity analysis, which I view as a critical process in simulation modeling, both for understanding and for developing confidence in a model, as well as for publication of that model to secure reviewer confidence. Those topics are indeed guaranteed, but I have a wide variety of other topics. For example, elements of output of data to files, calibration, use of the AnyLogic built-in database, implementation of interventions and examination of implementation science effects, components of different modeling methodologies, system dynamics and discrete event, and hybridization, etc. And I could spend time on some of those, all of those, or other topics yet. So what I'm going to do, to make it a structured and efficient process, I'm going to create a Google Sheet, okay? So that's the same sort of sheet we've used for projects and so on. And in tabular form, it will list possible topics. And I'd ask you to vote. We'll have a tally for each. And I'm not going to ask you to only vote for one, but maybe take 3 points. And you can vote all 3 on one topic if you're really interested in that, or you can divide them up amongst other topics, so 2 on one, 1 on the other, or 3 different ones. And if you don't really feel that particularly fired up about any one, you can not vote on them at all, or what have you. But I'm going to ask you to try to do that voting sometime by the end of lunch, okay? So that I can do, let's say the beginning of lunch. I'll launch this during the first health break, and I'll ask if we could do it during the morning, either when the lecture hits a new low, or during the prep for lunch. You could fill it in. I'll try to leave time later in the break so you can do it as well before the lectures resume. You could just fill that in. It will let me plan the remainder of the time and put out a new schedule. Okay. Clausewitz said no schedule survives, no plan survives contact with the enemy, and we have anticipated change, and change has been realized. So we'll output the new schedule. 2 other administrative matters of note. Number 1, I would remind you to partake of the resources we've provided for the sessions. That's not what we're looking for. So we have the provisional schedule, which I will update, but for each session, although they've been shifted around and so on, I would remind you we have these lessons here. These lessons really do try to dig down and summarize some of the central themes and key points coming out of each session. Regardless of whether it's been shifted in time, you will find it beneficial, I think, to check those lessons for each of these and to reflect on them, okay? Because cutting through all the verbiage, they will summarize some of the most salient points within it. And if you find that they don't feature a certain point you found most helpful, alert me, and from now on, I can add it to that description, okay? So see if you could give reference to that. The other thing is within the Google Drive, we have at the top level three files. One was that provisional schedule. The second one is background materials. And I mentioned this the first day, but in addition to providing sort of some references and some comments on resources, I want to highlight these links up here. I've been asked a couple times by different people about videos for this boot camp. This first link here will bring you to a YouTube playlist that is specifically for this event, and on which I've been putting these various, placing these various videos. Not everything we've given currently rests on that site. There's actually some machinations I have to do for each of these, and a few of them still require my frobbing. So I'll get to them probably later this morning for yesterday and release them. Currently, these are shared with you folks via that link. So the link that I just went through here, but they're not currently listed in my list of playlists on my channel. So you don't want to just go to my channel and start looking around for the playlist, because you won't find it. The playlist is this one, okay? And the videos similarly are as yet unlisted on my main site, but you could find them through here. I've listed, in case you notice, two different names. For the most part, the reason you might see something twice, like this introduction to the AnyLogic interface, for example, here, and then you may see it down here, is the fact that some of them are done in a way that integrates the video, and others are purely a screencast, okay? So depending on your interests, if you want to see a focus on the screen and see the entire screen real estate, you might want to use those that are simpler components like this one here. On the other hand, if you want to see my video with it, you can make use of the ones that are labeled with the name of the room and so on, and those will indicate my sort of perambulations as well. Okay, so those videos, I'm trying to add to them over time. There's going to be a few glitches there. Let me know. There's a few times where it's a false start and then I restarted, and some of those really short ones might have gotten up there, these rump videos. Like, for example, here's one of 3 minutes and 58 seconds that I think is not actually going to be germane. I'm going to go through and weed these out, but right now it's enough for me each evening to kind of just get what I can up to the site, answer emails, and sleep, with an emphasis on the latter. So I'll try to clean this up in the fullness of time, but it takes a bit of work, and sometimes there's just not time for it amongst all the other boot camp responsibilities. Okay, so those were the administrative items that I had in mind. Let's see if there's anything else. Nope, nothing else that I can think of. Any questions that I could answer? Yes. Yeah, in perpetuity. I'll try to provide you access. I've had some problems in recent years because I've been a little bit too open in sharing some of my links for my TAs, and somehow they've escaped to the public for modifying my site. And last year we had a former volunteer who destroyed all my materials from last year. They're all gone, and I don't have a copy of them anymore, which is unfortunate. And yeah, it was not good. And then I discovered that some of my links to TAs apparently have been distributed worldwide. So people worldwide are now modifying some of my materials for some of my previous sites. They're creating new versions of models which they're posting to my site, and I don't know what are in those models. I think they're just engaging in. I think they've mapped them to their personal drive and are just using them and tweaking them. I trust they're not putting things to break into the Democratic National Convention and into my models. So when they're run for election planning, they're not they're not causing leakage of emails requested by the president of the U.S. or by the candidate for president of the U.S. But all I can say is that I realize that I need to be more careful in my curation, because it seems to be a global phenomenon now. There's all these people worldwide. I don't know who they are. They've never attended any of my events, and they are modifying some of my stuff. So hence I'm being a little bit more careful in how I roll stuff out and who I distribute links to for modifying. For viewing my stuff, I'd love it if more people could view it. That's great. Yeah, you'll have links in perpetuity. If you want to provide links to anyone, please be encouraged to do so. That's great. If you want to inflict these wounds on someone else, I won't stand in the way of that. But yeah, we'll try to take things one step at a time as far as having read-write access for people to the sites. So great question. Are there any other administrative questions or suggestions before I turn to more content-related questions? I'm going to stop the video and turn to a different video for more content-related questions. Any administrative questions? Yeah. Sure. That's right. That's right. Good. Good. You can put those down in the spreadsheet. You can put them down in the spreadsheet. Just try not to put spreadsheet links to everyone over the world, right? Who knows what pictures they'll post to it or whatever. Yeah, I'll send out a link to the spreadsheet. It'll be editable by you. And if you want to see extra links, I'm all for it. Extra suggestions for topics, I'm all for it. And you put them in there, and I'll see if I can include them. And if I can't include them in this event, maybe I'll include them, for later direct addressing. I often get moved to create videos on particular topics that I can't cover in the events, but I'll later go record a video on it. And Jeff has been encouraging me gently towards creation of less crude videos. I still haven't gotten to the point where they can put powder in my nose. They told me my nose glistens too much under camera light, and I said, yeah, thanks. I'll leave the powder to Louis XIV. But yeah, we actually may be engaged in some video production that's less raw in its rendition, even if noses still glow. After all, work for Rudolph, right? Okay, other administrative questions. So we will have the place. Please put suggestions in there. That's great. Any other administrative questions? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this this kind of